this dude is not retiring after this season. This dude is not just fading away without getting his flowers. This dude is not just disappearing quietly and strolling off into the sunset. Does any of that sound like LeBag to you? That actually sounds like the anti-bag.
Jim Rome just lit a match under one of the biggest narratives in the NBA right now, and it's got fans, analysts, and LeBron loyalists all clashing over the same question. Is this really the beginning of the end, or is LeBron James setting the stage for the most calculated farewell tour in sports history? Because according to Rome, there's nothing authentic about the emotion, nothing accidental about the timing, and definitely nothing quiet about how LeBron plans to leave the game. This isn't a legend fading away. This is a brand preparing its final act.
Of course LeBron wants a farewell tour. The dude lives for praise. I said it yesterday. No amount of credit is ever going to be enough credit for LeBag. It's like he's a black hole of credit, just sucking in all the credit around him, and it's still never enough. So let's not act like we don't know this guy really well at this point. Let's not act like those crocodile tears were some huge tell that this is the end.
What do you think? Is LeBron really nearing retirement? Or is this the start of a carefully planned farewell tour designed to control the narrative one last time? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Nothing like a homecoming where you get your ass beat by 30 points in your big emotional return. Am I right, LeBag? Now, I'm sure that's just how you drew it up. Return home to Cleveland, score 11 points on 10 shots, and get hammered by 30. But, hey, at least there was some good news. The good news being that there was enough garbage time in that blowout for Bronny to almost outscore Pops.
Let's be honest about one thing right away. LeBron James doesn't operate like any superstar we've ever seen. His career has never just been about basketball. It's been about moments, optics, control, narrative, and legacy. Every move has intention behind it. From the decision, to the championship promises, to the social media messaging, to the family storyline with Bronny and Bryce, LeBron has always played chess while the sports world reacts in real time. So when people act surprised that retirement might be staged, prolonged, or emotionally packaged, it almost feels like they haven't been paying attention for the last 2 decades.
Although I'm not sure LeCap could even see his kid through the buckets, getting the buckets, through all those totally legitimate tears. Yeah, the game wasn't about the game though, right? It was about LeBron. The real question is, what were LeBag's tears for? Were the tears for his return to Cleveland, or were they for that beating that Cleveland put on him in that return?
Jim Rome's argument cuts straight to that idea. He doesn't believe LeBron is walking away quietly. He doesn't believe the tears mean it's over. And he definitely doesn't believe this season is some accidental last ride. Rome's take is simple but explosive. LeBron wants the farewell tour. He deserves the farewell tour. And more importantly, he knows exactly how to make sure it happens on his terms. Not suddenly, not mid-season, not with a whisper, with a spotlight.
Those hometown crocodile tears, were they more believable or less believable than Mike McCarthy Yinzer tears? Or whatever LeBron was doing right here. So LeBag is actually the one who is an actor, although his acting career could have also just been described as ruining Space Jam for everybody forever. Look, I'm not just here for any of the waterworks, because I don't buy the supposed reason why last night was so emotionally charged for LeBag in the first place. I mean, are we supposed to believe that he was that emotional because that was his last game in Cleveland?
And when you look at LeBron's history, it's hard to completely dismiss that take. This is someone who has built a career around anticipation. He understands timing better than almost any athlete ever. He knows how to dominate headlines without saying a word. One post, one quote, one emotional moment, and suddenly the entire sports world is asking the same question. Is this it? That kind of reaction doesn't happen by accident. It happens because the audience has been conditioned to expect something bigger.
If you believe that, you obviously do not know this dude. You obviously have not been paying attention for the past 2 decades. This dude is not retiring after this season. This dude is not just fading away without getting his flowers. This dude is not just disappearing quietly and strolling off into the sunset. Does any of that sound like LeBag to you? That actually sounds like the anti-bag. No. The bag that I know is going to want a full-on farewell tour. He's going to want to go full Kareem.
The Cleveland return game added fuel to everything. Emotional atmosphere, media speculation, a tough loss, cameras glued to LeBron's reactions, every facial expression analyzed, every tear debated, every moment replayed. And that's where the skepticism comes in. Some saw a legend reflecting on his journey. Others saw a carefully crafted moment designed to spark the retirement narrative without confirming anything. Because that's the sweet spot. Keep people guessing, keep people talking, keep the spotlight locked in.
He wants every single arena to make a goodbye event that's all about him. So miss me with those dry tears being about how that was his last game ever in Cleveland and he was just overwhelmed and overcome by the moment. Oh, and that this is his last season. If by last game ever in Cleveland, you mean every home game in Cleveland next year, where he's not in arthritic or sciatic scratch, then sure, that was his last game in Cleveland last night. The only thing that would stop this from happening is Father Time. And did you notice where he said the other day that he had stopped drinking during rehab? Whatever that means. I mean, did you stop drinking or did you stop drinking during rehab? His point was, I'm doing everything I can to push back on Father Time.
Rome's criticism goes even deeper. He questions the idea that LeBron would ever allow his career to end without a full season celebration across the league. Think about it. Farewell nights in every arena, tributes from every franchise, jerseys, video packages, standing ovations, historic acknowledgments. That's not ego, it's precedent. Kobe had it, Wade had it, Dirk had it, and LeBron's impact is arguably even bigger. Why would he skip that chapter?
If all of LeGramp's old man ailments overcome him and he just physically can't do it, then this will be it, all right? But the only thing stopping him from getting all of his flowers, which you know he needs and wants and is desperate for, the only thing in my mind that's going to stop him from playing another year is the sciatica.
But here's where things get complicated. LeBron is still producing. He's still putting up numbers. He's still physically competing at an age when most players have been retired for years. So the idea of stepping away now, without squeezing every last moment out of the game, doesn't really align with how he's approached his career. This isn't someone who quits early. This is someone who stretches limits until they snap.
He's not getting nearly enough attention, nearly enough credit, or nearly the adoration right now that he's going to need. So he's going to make sure he sticks around for a full another year, at least. Full retirement tour. No way this dude walks without throwing himself a season-long going-away party. Now, I want to be clear about this before you say I'm just all about the hate. He deserves it. He deserves it. He deserves it if he wants it. Let's just not act like he doesn't desperately want it or that he's going to leave without it. Of course LeBron wants a farewell tour. The dude lives for praise. I said it yesterday. No amount of credit is ever going to be enough credit for LeBag. It's like he's a black hole of credit, just sucking in all the credit around him, and it's still never enough.
Then there's the family angle. Playing with Bronny. Potentially staying long enough to see Bryce enter the league, cementing the James name across generations. That storyline alone feels bigger than a simple retirement. It feels like something LeBron would absolutely want to complete before walking away. And if that's the case, then this current last season buzz might just be the beginning of a longer goodbye, not the final chapter. Another layer to this is business. LeBron isn't just an athlete, he's an empire. Media projects, production companies, partnerships, branding, ownership ambitions. A farewell tour wouldn't just be emotional, it would be monumental commercially. Every stop becomes content. Every tribute becomes a story. Every moment becomes part of the legacy machine. That's not cynical, it's reality in the modern sports world. Rome's harshest criticism is the idea that LeBron thrives on recognition, that no amount of credit ever feels like enough. It's a brutal take, but it speaks to something real about greatness. The greatest athletes don't just want respect, they want acknowledgement of their place in history. They want confirmation that what they built mattered. And in LeBron's case, after 2 decades of comparisons, criticism, and GOAT debates, the final narrative matters more than ever. Because this isn't just about retirement, it's about how the story ends. Is he remembered as the relentless competitor who defied time? The leader who carried teams across eras? The businessman who changed what athlete power looks like? Or the superstar who orchestrated every moment, even the final goodbye? That last chapter will shape how everything before it is viewed. There's also the physical reality: sciatica, foot issues, recovery timelines. At 40+, every season is a battle. Rome hinted that the only real thing capable of stopping LeBron isn't motivation, it's father time. If the body finally says no, the farewell tour might be forced instead of planned. But as long as LeBron can still perform, the incentive to keep going remains strong. And let's not ignore the competitive fire. Even now, LeBron still believes he can contribute at a high level. He still believes he can shape games, shape rosters, shape outcomes. That belief doesn't fade easily. Athletes wired like him don't just wake up and decide they're done. They need closure. They need control. They need a final run that feels complete. Which brings us back to the biggest question Jim Rome raised. Where would that farewell tour even happen? With the Lakers? Back in Cleveland where it all started? Somewhere unexpected like New York for one last headline-grabbing chapter? The team choice alone would become a global story. And that decision isn't just emotional, it's strategic. If it's Los Angeles, it's Hollywood. It's the entertainment capital. Its legacy meets media power. If it's Cleveland, it's poetic. Full circle, hometown roots, redemption and return. If it's another market, it's shock value, reinvention, one final twist in a career built on unexpected moves. Every option creates a different narrative, and LeBron has always understood the power of narrative. The criticism calling him a phony or accusing him of manipulating emotions is loud, but it also reflects how polarizing he's always been. For every fan who sees authenticity, there's another who sees performance. For every believer, there's a skeptic. That tension has followed LeBron since high school, and it's part of why his story stays so compelling. He's not universally loved or universally hated, he's constantly debated. And maybe that's exactly why a farewell tour feels inevitable. Because LeBron James leaving the NBA quietly doesn't make sense. Not for his career, not for the league, not for the fans. This is a player who defined an era, bridged generations, and stayed relevant longer than anyone expected. The ending has to match the scale of the journey. What Jim Rome is really challenging isn't just LeBron's intentions, it's the idea that we're witnessing something organic. He's arguing that this is calculated, that the emotion, the speculation, the hints about the future are all part of setting the stage. And whether you agree or not, there's no denying LeBron understands the power of timing better than most athletes ever have. Because when he finally does announce retirement, it won't be random. It won't be rushed. It won't be buried in a press release. It will be a moment, a statement, a cultural event. Something that dominates headlines, shuts down debates, and forces the sports world to pause and recognize the end of an era. Until then, everything feels like build-up. Every quote, every emotional game, every conversation about age and longevity. It's all feeding the same anticipation. Not if he retires, but when and how. And that suspense might be the most powerful part of the story. So maybe Rome is right. Maybe this isn't the last season. Maybe the tears weren't the ending. Maybe LeBron is preparing something bigger. One final act that gives him control over how his career closes. Or maybe, just maybe, We're overanalyzing every moment of a legend, trying to process the final stretch of a career that's lasted longer than anyone imagined. Either way, one truth stands above all the noise. LeBron James isn't done being the center of the NBA universe yet. Whether it's performance, speculation, criticism, or praise, he still drives the conversation. And until that changes, retirement will remain a storyline instead of a reality. Because the moment LeBron truly decides it's over, the league won't just lose a player. It will lose a headline generator, a storyline creator, a walking era of basketball history. That kind of departure doesn't happen quietly. It shakes the sport. And that's why the real debate isn't whether LeBron will have a farewell tour. It's when it begins, where it happens, and how big it becomes.